Michael Thurber from CDZA, and check out ForBassPlayersOnly.com because it's awesome.
Michael Thurber.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, John?
Good, good. Hey, let's start from the beginning.
Cool.
Tell me about your musical upbringing.
I started playing piano and guitar and drums when I was like 4. And I would just listen to the music on the radio, and I built a little drum set out of like styrofoam plates and stuff. And that's how I first started playing. And then I started playing bass when I was 11 in the public school orchestra in Indiana, is where I originally grew up. And so that was the only way to really get like serious music lessons. So I started playing classical music on the upright and fell in love with it right away and started taking it really seriously and playing in youth orchestras and stuff. And then when it really got serious was my junior year of high school. I went to the Interlochen Arts Academy. So I ended up going to Interlochen for the last 2 years, and that was when I really like developed my foundation. And I also started playing a lot of jazz around that time. So I've always sort of played classical and jazz. And then I was at Interlochen for 2 years, had an awesome teacher named Derek Weller there, and then moved to New York after that to go to Juilliard. And I was there in the classical division first for about 2 years. And then I went on a sabbatical for a year to work as a teacher's assistant at the Collective in New York and playing bass guitar. And then I came back to Juilliard in the jazz division, and I spent another year there in the jazz division. And then I actually ended up leaving.
Who were your bass teachers at Juilliard?
I studied with Tim Cobb and David Grossman, and then I had an improv class with Ben Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of great players there. It was amazing.
I notice you're holding something in your lap there that doesn't look like a classical or traditional jazz bass.
Man. This is the best. This is even better. This is the best bass ever.
Well, first of all, we'll get to that in a minute, but at what point did you discover the electric bass?
I always played in bar bands. So when I was like 13 and 14, I would play in like classic rock bands.
You were playing in bar bands when you're 13?
Yeah, yeah, my parents, God bless them, they let me do that. But yeah, so I would sing and play bass, and so it was too loud for the acoustic bass, and so I would play bass guitar. And I was always really into Jaco and stuff, so I studied all of that, and I, always been really into bass guitar too, like Jaco and James Jamerson and Duck Dunn and those guys, like Motown and blues. That's really my favorite stuff.
How about on the upright? Who were your influences there? Jazz.
My biggest influence is Edgar Meyer, straight across the board. I mean, I got to audition for him at Curtis. That's the only time.
Well, he went to Indiana University.
He did, with Josh Bell, yeah. And he's always been my idol because I compose a lot as well. And so I've always loved the way that he was able to sort of combine different genres of music into his own sound, But so, yeah, Edgar's definitely my biggest influence, but I love Paul Chambers in the jazz world. He's probably my favorite jazz bassist. And then, in the classical world, who else?
I interviewed Jeff Braditich not too long ago.
Yeah, I've never actually met Jeff in person.
Great guy.
He was when I was 18, I competed in the ISB solo competition when it was at Western Michigan University.
Tom Kniffik.
Yeah, with Tom Kniffik. So I've met a lot of those guys, but I don't really know them personally, And nowadays, now that I'm doing the CDZA stuff, I'm kind of out of the bass world more than I used to be. I used to be really serious about just bass, but now I'm sort of composing and directing.
Let's talk about that CDZA.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
Yeah. CDZA is a music collective.
Is that short for cadenza?
Yeah, Collective Cadenza. That's the full name. So yeah, it's we're a YouTube-based music collective. So we've got over 150 conservatory-trained, young musicians from the Broadway world, from the jazz world, from the classical world, and basically we all come together to create these videos that are sort of like remixing and medleying and mashing up different cultural musical references.
I've seen several of them. They're very entertaining.
Thanks, man.
In fact, I first learned of you from the video where you demonstrate all the bass. I can't think of any style that you left out on the bass. Upright, electric, and...
oh, man. And we had a blast making that one. The funnest part was calling everybody and finding all the basses. I got in touch with people that I hadn't talked to for years from the early music department at Juilliard and got a gamba, and Corey from NS Design helped me track down a stick bass. and we had a couple of Ned's basses in there. So that was the funnest part, is trying to find all the instruments. You know?
Well, talk to me a little bit more about NS design and the equipment that you're using today, and you can start with that bass you're holding, I suppose.
Yeah, so this is the new Radius bass. This is the 5-string fretted version. They have a fretless and they have a 4-string too. This is really, I mean this genuinely. I cannot tell you how genuinely I mean this. It is the best bass guitar I've ever played in my life. They call it the Radius because if you see it actually bends like that.
Oh, look at that.
So it fits to the contour of your body, and the weight is just perfect. And these EMG magnets that they have here are actually the only EMGs like this in the world. They curve to fit the radius of the bass. And so in this typical, the famous Steinberger fashion, you've got the tuners down here, so it's headless up here.
Yes.
And that is like really honestly one of the most convenient things ever, because if you break a string, it takes like 30 seconds to pop it in, you just push it through the back, and then you can tune it up right there.
Yeah, that's nice.
And electrically, it's incredible, because, I mean, the feel of the bass is fast and modern and really just fun to play, super effortless. But the sounds, you can get anything, because you've got the piezo back here and the magnets, and you can get a full blend, however you want, really specifically. So you can get it to sound like a P bass, you can get it to sound like a jazz bass, really anything you want, which is amazing, because the whole time it's super playable. The neck is so fast, So I've been really happy with this. I actually just got this. They sent this to me about a month ago, so I'm still getting used to it, but
your enthusiasm comes across as very genuine.
Yeah, man, this thing is incredible. But I also play one of their NXT upright basses, their electric upright, the 4-string one.
What else is keeping you busy, Michael?
Well, in the composition world, I actually just got back from London. I wrote the score to the Royal Shakespeare Company's newest production of Antony and Cleopatra. So that started in London, in Stratford-upon-Avon, where the Royal Shakespeare Theatre is, and then it moved to Miami, and it's actually still in Miami right now, and then it's moving to New York in about 2 weeks, actually. So if anybody's in New York, I'll be playing bass and playing the score there.
Oh, great. How about the future? What else would you like to do that you haven't already accomplished?
I want to keep growing CDZA and keep trying to foster it as sort of a premier hub for young, talented musicians. I'd like to keep writing. I'm actually writing a concerto for Charles Yang, who's another NS Design, really wonderful violinist that's in a bunch of the CDZA videos, and Jon Batiste, who's a jazz pianist and harmonoboard player. So it's going to be a triple concerto for the three of us that we were commissioned to do. So I want to keep writing. I want to keep trying to create works that can kind of infuse different genres and just promote a good vibe and fun and music,
Last question, Michael.
Yeah.
What would you be if you were not a bass player? It has to be something outside of music.
I would be an actor, for sure. Definitely.
What kind of productions would you like to do?
Movies. Like Leonardo DiCaprio roles. I really like Leonardo DiCaprio. I have a man crush on him, so yeah.
I think we'll leave it at that. Michael Thurber, great catching up with you.
Cool, man.
Keep doing what you're doing. We love it. Much luck and continued success to you always.
All right, thanks, John.